Luckin Coffee started their business from scratch in 2017. In 2.5 years, it became the number one coffee shop in China, surpassing Starbucks in China in terms of number of shops. It seems the blitz-scaling strategy works magically not only for consumers but for investors as well. Most Luckin customers in China knows that it is for investors' money that makes Luckin Coffee affordable and accessible. As long as promotions and deep discount continues, consumers love to have more cups of Luckin coffees. From the company's perspective, so long as the operating losses can be recouped by new rounds of capital raising, the ruthless expansion will continue. How about investors? Despite the large amount of operating loss due to the money-burning strategy of the company, investors are happy when stock price goes higher and higher. Everyone's happy. But is it too good to be true? Warren Buffett, the greatest investor of all time, said that if something looks too good to be true, then it probably is. Any rational investors would cast a dot on the success of Luckin Coffee. What if the company cheats? The reason investors were so optimistic on the stock market is that the company proclaimed on November 13, 2019, that its stores began to be profitable. A well-regarded investment research company, Muddy Water Research, tweeted on July 20 that it believed Luckin Coffee had taken deliberate actions to deceive investors. Based on an 89-page anonymous report that collected 11,260 hours of store traffic and 1,000 receipts, it's revealed that Luckin Coffee inflated its revenue by 88% in the fourth quarter in 2019 and 69% in the third quarter. Luckin Coffee, of course, denied the allegation quickly and claimed that its internal control system was robust so as to issue the integrity of its accounting information. Muddy Water Research borrowed the shares of Luckin and sold those on the market with the intention to buy the borrowed shares back at a lower price later. Luckin Coffee's auditor, Ernest Young, began to audit the company's annual report of 2019 in January 2020. The auditor suspected the falsified transactions revealed by both the anonymous report and Muddy Water Research. On March 19, 2020, the company announced that a special committee has been formed to investigate the related issues. On April 2nd, 2020, the internal investigation confirmed the presence of falsified revenue transactions. The investigation also confirmed that the falsification can only be carried out with the cooperation of top executives such as CEO and COO. The investigation also found a large amount of money has been tunneled out of the company towards its chairperson's pocket, Mr. Liu, through related party transactions. When the news hit the market, the stock price of Luckin Coffee declined by 80%, from some $25 to a little over $5 in just one day. On the right side of the slide, you see the stock price chart of Luckin Coffee. The company was listed on Nasdaq in May 2019. After its IPO, stock price was around $20. After November 2019, it began its ruthless hike. On January 17, 2020, it reached its historical high of $50. After the anonymous report revealed by Muddy Water Research on January 20th, 2020, the stock price began its plunge. It went from $50 to a little over $30 in just a couple weeks. After the company announced the formation of a committee to conduct the internal investigation on March 19, 2020, the stock price went from some $40 to $20 level. On April 3rd, when the investigation confirmed the revenue falsification, and the tunneling of firm's assets, the stock price finally collapsed. It went down to a little over $5 on April 3rd. And it continued to decline to $1.39 on May 22nd, 2020. The magnitude of revenue falsification was substantial. Over a three-quarter period in 2019, the revenue was inflated by 2.12 billion Chinese yuan, and the expenses were inflated by 1.34 billion Chinese yuan. Fiction's raw material purchases bypassed the CFO but were approved by CEO, Ms. Chen, and benefited directly the affiliated companies owned by the chairperson, Mr. Lu. Nasdaq suspended the trading in Luckin Coffee in June and delisted the company in August 2020. U.S. regulators, including SEC, Security Exchange Committee, coordinated with China regulators to call for an investigation of the fraud. Chinese government regulators concluded that Luckin Coffee had violated accounting laws, anti-competition regulations, and security laws with the false advertising and its inflation of income and expenses. They voted to penalize the company and prosecute a former chairperson for his involvement in the fraud. It is too good to be true. The beautiful unicorn story of Luckin Coffee ended with removal of its top executives, the further investigation and the prosecution of its chairperson, and the collapse of the stock price when it was kicked out of the Nasdaq.